Hello and good evening. Today comes the third chapter of Anika in Fairyland. Anika's aunt and the elf Rednaxela. It wasn't so long ago that the Hiver Roses had opened their hedge for a little gate, a tiny passage. You could call it almost or more like a slip, a loophole than a gate. And what's more, in Fairyland there was absolute secrecy about this tiny passage. Keep quiet about it. It had only been opened by the Hiver Roses for Anika, and the fairies agreed. The angels and elves had also agreed. Imagine that. The noble Rose Strawberry Hill immediately took command when she heard that Anika not only visited the Fairyland at night while she was asleep, but also during the day she could see through all the walls of air into the Fairyland and also entered it. There had never been anything like that. The noble Rose Strawberry Hill immediately also instructed the Hiver Roses to open the passage for Anika. The little fairy girl needed this passage. The noble Rose Strawberry Hill was convinced of that. She was one of them, and a close relative at that. You must know that the noble Rose Strawberry Hill was Anika's aunt from the maternal branch of the hybrid tea rose family. In her imposing hedge, which stretched across the Fairyland with the indescribable beauty of its countless pink flowers, dark green leaves, and hardly any thorns, she sheltered all sorts of creatures seeking protection. But above all, the elf boy Rednaxela, whom she loved more than anything, and whose protection she gave her was particularly important. Rednaxela had been looking for a job that would make him happy for a long time. So the noble Rose Strawberry Hill hired the elf boy to guard the passage for Anika, and the Hiver Roses had created. No one else was allowed through this tiny gate, which was exceptionally reinforced with thorns. No, it wasn't a gate. I already said that. It was the tiniest passage that had been created only for Anika. And the Hiver Roses weren't even sure that Anika would fit through there at all. Everything had to happen so quickly. Maybe the opening was too small. But Anika knew how to help herself. She just sent her happy thoughts to the entrance to the Fairyland this time. Thoughts reached Rednaxela, thanking him for valiantly guarding the passage. Even though the passage was tiny, there was a danger that all sorts of evil things would try to slip through, and Rednaxela very carefully prevented that. The elf boy bowed politely to the thoughts. In his heart was a bump, a stumble, a hop, a teeteretee. That was what had him make him very happy today. He had done something good, and Anika's thoughts had been so friendly. That wasn't something that happened every day. And so Anika's thoughts wandered along the long hedge of the noble Rose Strawberry Hill. They heard the goldfinch sing, saw the oriole flapping up with its yellow and black plumage, and laughed at the cheeky sparrow children who just were learning to fly. Anika's thoughts were free. We know what it's like when we can think without anything or anyone bothering us. Don't we? Just as undisturbed, Anika's thoughts now wandered around in Fairyland, and nobody saw them. Nobody bothered them. Anika was sleeping. She smiled, of course. Nobody saw that except the fairies. Anika's parents were sleeping too. As the night drew to a close and the reddish morning sky flooded the Fairyland, Anika recalled her thoughts, and they came back to the sleeping fairy girl, rested, happy, and quiet still. They told her that Fairyland missed her and sent her heartfelt greetings. Free, Undisturbed thoughts are the true treasure of human beings. Silence then begins to sing in every soul. Only the fairies, the highbrow roses, angels, elves, and every child who lets their thoughts fly freely hear this song. Fly. Let your thoughts fly. Fly with them to Fairyland. We want to meet Anika there. I don't know if Rednaxela will let you in, but you have to try. That was it. I wish you a good night, sleep well. We hear us tomorrow for the 4th story. Bye bye. Good night.